insurance agents from around the world. Hey guys, this is Scott Howell with the Insurance Guys podcast. Hey, let's talk about client experience for just a minute. Guys, we have got to start meeting our clients where they want to be met, not where you want to be met. This isn't about you. Okay, I know we would all love it to be about us. It's about our clients. We got to start meeting them where they want to be met. I understand some of you want them to call the office. That's great. For those people that want that, that's fantastic. Every year, more and more people want to jump on a mobile app. They want to download their ID cards. They want easy. They want speed. They don't want to come by and drink coffee and talk to you for 45 minutes. Okay. One of the easiest ways you can do this is through your agency branded self-service platform. Guys, that's where Glovebox comes in. A carrier connected agency branded tool for your clients. Call today, get a demo with Glovebox, mention the Insurance Guys podcast to get 20% off for the life of your agency branded CXP. Guys, let's go meet our clients where they want to be met. Easy, speed. Have a great day.
Hey guys, it's Bradley. Every now and then a company comes across my desk that not only blows my mind in what they're able to accomplish, but we implement that particular technology in Portal and it completely changes the way we do business. That's happened a few times with a few different companies. And it happened this year with Ascend. In case you don't know, Ascend saves agent time by simplifying the time-consuming process of collecting payments, premium financing, and carrier payables without the back and forth paperwork, integrated right into your checkout experience where customers can pay how they want. Credit, debit, ACH, own the entire customer experience. It's branded to your agency and offer a modern checkout experience that your customers want. Ascend will also, this is the big one for me, automatically pay the provider, the carrier, the MGA, so you don't have to deal with the payables. It turns agency bill into direct bill. It combines the benefits of agency bill, owning the experience, with the convenience of direct bill. Don't have to worry about collections, payables, so you get the best of both worlds. And the best part is there's no subscription, no fee, and no cost to the agents. Stop wasting time on payments so you can focus on growing your business. Go to useascend.com/insurance guys. I'm telling you guys, this is not just a promotion. This company is going to change the insurance industry. They've already changed Portal. Useascend.com/insurance guys. That's USEASCEND.com/insurance guys. Tell them we sent you. Thanks.
Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast, powered by Glovebox. God, I love Glovebox. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Saraland, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Great, Scott. How are you today?
Best I have ever been. Guys, we have got a fantastic guest on this show, and he's got like 20 minutes before he's got to leave, and I have got to get to him today. So, Bradley, I'm going to cut out all my crazy stories. So, Bradley, here's the question for today's podcast. If you had endless money, bottomless pit money,
yep,
what's the one thing that you would go out and buy first week or two that you had it and you wanted to just splurge on yourself and you have bottomless money?
Personally or business?
Personally.
Probably a private jet.
Private jet.
Not probably. That's what it would be. You think about being able to get anywhere in the world and you're on your way in 30 minutes. That
no
would
more
probably be. Yeah. And it wouldn't be from a douchey standpoint. I probably wouldn't even post about it. Being able to say, hey, babe, you want to go to dinner in Los Angeles tonight? Okay, let's go. That would probably be it.
I would take my couch out of my house and go set it on the road. And by the way, on Pine Ridge Road, if I did that, that couch would be gone in 13.7 seconds. Literally, I could watch somebody pick that couch up by the time I got back to my front door.
Oh, that's funny. That's so country. That's like, that reminds me of where I grew up.
Hey, I put a grill outside my house about a year ago.
Yeah.
My old grill. And that son of a bitch is still sitting in my neighbor's yard. I don't know what he ever thought he was going to do with it, but it's just sitting there. Every time I drive by, I go, why is my old grill sitting in this guy's yard?
I remember driving around with my grandparents. I had to be 10 years old or even younger. And we were driving around looking for pine straw that people had put by the road for debris cleanup to pick up so we could take it back and put it in their yard.
I would take my couch out to the front road and I'd let somebody come get it. And then I'd walk back in the house and I'd order me that Jurassic Park video game that I love so much.
You do like that game.
And I would put that son of a bitch right there in my living room where my couch used to be.
How much does one of those cost?
$10,000.
Oh, that's not bad. My purchase was more expensive than yours.
A lot more. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'd be playing that game every weekend. And I'd invite people like you over to the house, play it with me, where we could sit there and kill dinosaurs together.
So to give context, Scott and his wife go to Gatlinburg quite a bit, a couple times a year, which is probably 2 hours from you.
Yeah.
And
three. Yeah, about three.
And I'll call Scott several times a year. Hey, man, what are you doing? Because we talk about it every day. I'm on my way to kill dinosaurs. I got to let you go. Click.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes, too. I'm like, I'm on my way to kill dinosaurs. I don't have time to talk.
So can I tell you what my agency purchase would be?
What's that?
I would call every vendor that I use that I do not like, basically everybody but Glovebox and Ascend. And I would tell them to kick rocks, and then I would go build my own. Then I would go to every single agency that I know that there is a good producer at who would be a good fit for our culture and say, how much money can I pay you to come to work here? Those would be the two things I would do. Then I thought of a third. Then I would call every agency in the United States of America that has a contract that I want, and buy their agencies. Here's 15 times EBITDA.
Right.
Go play golf every day.
Get out.
Yes, basically.
I thought you were going to say you would call because we're talking about billions of dollars now. Let's just say
you said limitless.
Yeah, limitless.
I would fly my jet there, and I would interview the people on the jet. We know somebody that does that. Scott and I.
Yeah. That's a power move, by the way. Come meet me at my plane and I'll interview you on my plane.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you would buy every technology you don't like. You would just call them and be like, I'm buying.
That's in my opinion, a lot of the reason a lot of this tech acquisition happens in every industry is because pretty much anytime, in my opinion, you see a legacy tech company buying a new tech company, it's because they're like, oh, well, they developed the technology for us.
Right.
That's, you know what I mean? And I mean, I'm a firm believer that one of the reasons Applied bought EasyLinks is because Applied's Radar sucked and EasyLinks Radar doesn't.
Right.
I'm not saying EasyLinks Radar's good, but it doesn't suck.
Hey, I'll say this too, Bradley. I'm surprised by how many agency owners I meet, and this isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, maybe it's the best thing. I have no idea. I've never used EasyLinks before, but I'm surprised by how many independent agents use EasyLinks for their CRM and their agency management system.
So here's my opinion on this. If you are in a middle America state that doesn't have coastal issues or wildfire, no crazy risk issues.
Right.
And you're predominantly personal lines. I do think EasyLinks is probably the way to go because it gives you the seamless end to end. You enter the info in the rater, you rate it, it goes into the management system CRM. I do think that where things get difficult, if the majority of your carriers aren't on the rater, I think then that opens up the floodgates of looking elsewhere. Like it would not make sense for me to be on it. Like I have 3 carriers that are on there.
Me either.
But yeah, that's a strategy too. You call every company that you use and say, hey, I want to buy you. Of course, I don't know that then that brings on, I mean, yes, that does give you the opportunity to get a ROI on your money immediately because that company may be cash flowing. Sure. We're getting too in the weeds on this, but developing, the reason I want to develop my own technology is nothing against some of the companies I use. It's because I want to control it. I don't want to get an email one day that says, hey, we are changing this thing and that negatively impacts my business and there's nothing I can do about it but whine,
Then you're handcuffed.
Yeah. And I do think that a lot of the systems that we use, you can build a not as good version for a lot cheaper, but you just have to have the money and the know-it-all and the wherewithal.
Guys, without further ado, please let me introduce our guest today because he's got a lot of valuable information and he's somebody that I look at and looked up to, actually. I've been following his team on social media for a while now. They've really stepped their game up on social media, TikTok especially. And I got a lot to talk to him about.
Second time guest.
Yeah, second-time guest on the IGP. He just released a new book, Fans First. We're going to talk about that for a minute. But let me give him the introduction he has always deserved. He's the founder of Fans First Entertainment and owner of the Savannah Bananas. His teams have welcomed more than 1 million fans to their ballparks and have been featured on MSNBC, CNN, ESPN, and in Entrepreneur magazine. The Bananas have been awarded Organization of the Year, Entrepreneur of the Year, Business of the Year, and won the CPL championship in their first year. Fans First Entertainment has been featured on Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in America, and they've currently sold out every game since their first season and have a waiting list in the thousands for tickets. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you second-time guest on the IGP, Mr. Jesse Cole. How are you, Jesse?
Scott, I actually really want to take you on the road with this. I want to take you on our tour.
Man, I would love to.
I think there's something. I think there's some kind of talent, like just over the top announcing intro for like something that shouldn't be over the top. That's where I want you. I got to think about it.
I'm game. Hey, you call me, reach out to me, and I'll be there. I would love to experience. It would be an honor to be a part of your organization. Because like I said, I look up to you guys because as I said on our last podcast, you to me are the model of what baseball should be. Maybe not to the extent that you go, but it needs to be more than it is. And I just look up to what you do. Talk to us a little bit today about your new book that just came out, Fans First, and let's give these agents something they can take back and use in their agencies for what they do day to day.
Sure. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, things have certainly ramped up over the last couple of years. But, as you guys know from the first episode, 6 years ago, they didn't have that amazing start as everyone, assumes like, oh, it was easy. We came to Savannah with this big dream of, changing baseball, but more than anything, kind of creating a fan experience that was special. And we failed. We only sold a handful of tickets and, we had overdrafted our account and got the phone call you never want to get as an owner is that you're out of money. And so had to sell our house, empty our savings account, and we went through that challenge where we didn't know if we were going to make it. And we went to the root of who we are that helped us get through that. And the root was very simple. It's fans first. And I think so many people, so many businesses are so focused on chasing customers, not creating fans. And we need to have a different conversation. And so we were chasing customers for 6 months and we only sold a handful of tickets. As soon as we said, we're going to start creating fans, we're going to start entertaining them, we're going to start doing things for them without asking for anything in return. We're going to stop selling them. We're going to stop marketing them. We're just going to entertain and have fun. That the fans started coming in droves. And, now to look the fact that, we have over 40,000 actually on our waiting list right now for tickets. And, we've been able to take our tour of the country, selling out every stadium. I never would have imagined this 6 years ago when I was sleeping on the airbed with my wife.
That's unbelievable.
So a couple of excerpts from the book that can be applied to insurance agencies or any business I want to bring up here. This quote really stuck out to me. And I think I may be saying this right. Mike Veek. Did I say that right?
Mike Veek.
When you follow the crowd, you'll never draw a crowd. And then you go on to say, right now you have a choice to make. Do you want to play the same game as everyone else? Do you want to be another unremarkable business, or do you want to change the game? And I think that speaks to so many businesses just in the world are caught in this. We've always done it this way. We're doing it this way because this is how we've done it. And yeah, that's okay if you want to maintain the status quo and or potentially die. But if you really want to change the game and make it and create a successful business, you have to basically do the opposite of what a lot of people think you should do. Speak on that a little bit.
Well, certainly. And that was firsthand experience. If we came to Savannah, we did as every other baseball team and similar to everyone else in the industry. And we failed. We were literally marketing like everyone else, selling like everyone else. Hey, we're the new baseball team. We were afraid to stand out and be different because we were trying to fit in and we're the new kids in town. But it wasn't until we said, you know what? Who are we not for? We are not for the traditional baseball fan. We are going to be dramatically different. We're not going to follow the crowd. A typical baseball game is, 9 innings. You have a few promotions and not much celebrations. And the tickets, you have ticket fees, convenient fees, all these extra fees. And we said, we're going to do the exact opposite. And so that's where we came up with the all-inclusive model. You can't come to a Savannah game in Savannah without all your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert, everything covered. And again, there's no ticket fees. There's no convenient fees for $20. That's it. And we pay your taxes. Our finance director told me the other day, Jesse, we're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in people's taxes this year. And I go, yeah, people don't realize that. But when you buy a t-shirt, I want it to be $25. I don't want it to be $28.50 $50 and then pay shipping and all that, because that's not fans first. So you got to look at what everyone else is doing and try to do the exact opposite. And I think the key in the insurance business, as you guys know, is like, own the problems in your industry. These are what people hate about the insurance business. Own it, write it down. Here's what people hate about baseball. It is too long, too slow, too boring. You get nickel and dime, blah, 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 blah. Keep going. We were going to do the exact opposite. And we started experimenting on that and trying to invent a new experience on behalf of our fans. What in the insurance industry can you look at those problems, those issues, and invent a new experience based on that?
Well, think about that meme. I'm sure you've seen it, where there's a girl in the stands at an MLB game and the guy's taking a picture behind and she's Googling how long is a baseball game.
I love it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it was shared with me. And that's why we developed Banana Ball, a 2-hour game where batters can't step out of the batter's box. You can steer first. There's no bunting. If you bunt, you're going to get thrown out of the game. And if fans catch a foul ball, it's an out. We developed a 2-hour game, and that's what's really taken off because we saw that problem of how long a baseball game is.
So there's one story that really stuck out to me in the book. Okay. And the book doesn't come out. I think this will air. The book will come out a week after this airs, I believe. And you can already pre-order. Where do you want to send people to order it? We'll go ahead and just get that out of the way.
No, it's fine. You go to Savannah Bananas website or at Amazon.
There you go. So there's one story that stuck out to me, and it's the Chick-fil-A story.
Oh, jeez.
Because Brett, there's so many situations in the insurance industry that we are even guilty of that this relates to. So talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. With anything you do, you either have a success or you have a story. And we've had a lot of stories that haven't been successes from the front and from the beginning. And, this was when I first started out. And I think you're used to the way things have always been done. When you don't know any better. So, you guys have been to sporting events. What's one thing? You can't bring food and drinks into sporting events. I mean, that's just a common knowledge. It's the way it's always been. So that's the way we had it with our first team in Gastonia, North Carolina. And we had this special Chick-fil-A ticket deal. It was 4 tickets, 4 Chick-fil-A meals, and 4 hats for $29.95. It didn't make sense. It was the stupidest deal ever. We were just trying to get people to come out to the game. But part of that is that they would get the Chick-fil-A meals at Chick-fil-A. We didn't have it at the stadium. So I remember vividly one day, it was a hot day, over 90 degrees. We had the Chick-fil-A deal. It was a very big night. And a family of 4, husband, wife, and their 2 little kids, showed up to the game with 4 bags of Chick-fil-A. And they were so excited. They got ready to walk in the gate. And I personally was there at that time and I said, sorry, guys, you can't come in with the food. And they go, well, this is the Chick-fil-A deal. We just bought this. And I go, I'm sorry, there's no food and bev. It's a stadium policy. There's no food and bev allowed in the ballpark. And I watched what happened next. And it still hurts me to my core. They went and then there were no picnic tables out in the parking lot. There were nothing. They went and sat down on the cement next to the gate. And they ate their meal in the heat. And they finished their meal and they looked inside the ballpark. And then they said, nah, we're not going to go. And they walked right to their car and the family drove off. That next day, I pulled the whole staff together. I go, guys, we are never, ever, ever doing this again. They go, what? I go, food and bev is allowed in our stadium. And I got fought on it. Jesse, we're going to lose money in concessions. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Everyone said, I go, guys, it's bigger than that. Let's not create a policy because 1 or 2 people may abuse it. And so many people do that. Think about no shoes, no shirt, no service. How many people are walking into convenience stores with no shoes and no shirt? But you set up policies because one person takes advantage of you. I want to create an experience where people feel like they can take advantage of it. It's such a good experience that they won't. And so that struck me to a core. And policies, the core word of policies is to police. No one needs to be policed. Give people freedom, give them the opportunity. So now we don't have any policies. Literally, you can bring food and bev in our ballpark. There's no policies. Have fun, enjoy yourself. And it's made a huge difference for our team.
Well, I think about the insurance industry. We tell customers all the time, there's so many things that as insurance agents, we can't control because we are adhering to the carriers and that sort of thing.
We're kind of like Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
We have all these rules and regulations that it's hard to circumvent and move around,
I get it. And in the banking industry and so many professional industries, it's hard. You have to be really creative.
But I tell customers all the time, insurance carriers do stupid stuff. That's why we exist, to combat that. And I tell agents, if there's something that insurance companies doing that's stupid, push back on them on it, why are you doing it this way? This is the exact opposite of creating a good customer experience and that sort of thing. And that story just really resonated with me because we all know these dumb things that insurance companies do. It's why is it that way? You're literally driving customers away by doing that.
And often we dismiss it. We just dismiss it and say, this is the way it's always been done, because it's not easy to change something that's always been done. But once you do it, we have better per caps in our stadium than any team, and we give all our food and bev for free because people feel like they're getting such a great deal. They want to support it. They not feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Jesse, if I waved the magic wand and you're now the owner of an insurance agency instead of the owner of the Savannah Bananas, and I'm only
sorry, Jesse.
Yeah, so sorry about your luck, Jesse, but if I waved a magic wand and instead of that office that you're sitting in right now being a baseball operations office, CEO of a baseball team, you are CEO of an insurance agency. And I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but you're a creative guy.
Fine.
What would be the very first thing that you would do to look at this from a different lens in terms of insurance?
100%. And I think it's not a set answer. The question is to come up with the right questions. And I think that's the key. And so my biggest inspiration by far has been Walt Disney. My wife, Emily, actually last week surprised me with a trip to his family museum in San Francisco. I spent more time there probably than anyone should ever spend time in a museum, but you can learn a lot from the greats.
Did you wear the tux?
By the way, what did you learn from that trip and spending so much time there? Did you learn some things you didn't know before you went?
Yeah, I mean, there's interesting things like business-wise, like he believed in always doing things himself and controlling stuff because the middleman, Charlie Mintz, really put him in a terrible spot by taking Oswald the rabbit and then, putting him in a bad deal with Universal. And for me, he said, I'm going to control the experience. I'm going to control who I work with. I'm going to control everything to make sure that I have the biggest impact. That was one thing, but every step he did took him to another level. So like he spent 10 years on the Silly Symphonies learning about music and how to put music in film. And then you think about what Disney and the way Disney uses music to this day has been a game changer. So everything he did was an experiment to get him to the next level. So what am I doing now to learn that can take it to the next level? He was constantly doing that. That was a new way of lens of looking at it. I could go Disney forever, but back to insurance question. What Disney did when he built Disneyland, he put an apartment above the fire station solely so he could spend time at the park and literally walking in his guest shoes and watching what they did and how they react. And he said, this quote, he said, whenever I go on a ride, I always ask what's wrong with this thing and how can it be improved? So I believe the starting point of all innovation, the starting point of changing the game is the first E that I have in the book, as Bradley knows, is to eliminate friction. So how do you do that as an insurance agent? So if you've gone through the process or go through an entire process from going on the website, from calling, from going through what the typical way is in the industry, write it all down and say, what are the friction points? What are the frustration points? And then what would be the exact opposite? You can't start reimagining the future until you know what the current is and you understand it better than anyone. Walt Disney did that. And now every day at our ballpark, one person on our staff goes undercover as a fan. We park with the fans, we walk in with the fans, we sit with the fans, we eat with the fans, and we pay attention to friction points and frustration points, and we tackle on how we are going to eliminate those. Once you start doing that, you come up with unbelievable new ideas to create an experience that's magical.
Well, hello there. Guys, excuse me for interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast, but I'm here today to get you out of aggregator and cluster jail. This may be the most important message I've ever delivered on the Insurance Guys podcast. Guys, are you a member of a cluster or an aggregator? Does your contract have exit fees, termination payments, buyback provisions? It's time to get your freedom back and do what we did here at I Protect Insurance. Join the AC, the future of aggregators in our industry. Best decision we've ever made, guys. Best decision we've ever made. No entry fees, small $200 a month membership fee, over 50 plus carriers for direct appointments. And by the way, new ones coming on board each and every month. You keep 100% of your commissions, profit sharing every year. Guys, we have made in the last 2 years, each year, our agency has made over $100,000 in profit sharing. Here's the best part, guys. And this is the part I'm the most passionate about. No termination or exit fees. You give the AC 60 days notice and you're free. You go get direct appointments wherever you want. There's no buyback provisions, no exit clauses. Guys, if you're a member of another aggregator and you have termination fees, buyback provisions, exit clauses, every single policy you write, you're digging that hole just a little bit deeper. And one day you're not going to be able to get out of it. It's going to be too much. You're going to be taking out a second mortgage on your home to try to get out of a cluster group. Unbelievable. Guys, go to acfree.org. That's acfree.org and register. Find out why over 650 agencies and $3 billion in premium have chosen the AC. And guys, here's the best part. But wait, there's more. Mention the Insurance Guys podcast when you talk to these guys, and you get 6 months. That's 6 months of no membership fee just by mentioning the Insurance Guys podcast. Go today, www.acfree.org, and let me help you get your freedom back. Have a great day.
I've got here: eliminate friction, entertain always, experiment constantly, engage deeply, and empower action. It sounds like if you went into any business, that's the exact order of events.
It's what worked for us. And again, when you start something, you never realize exactly what you're doing. But when you look back, you can start connecting the dots, as Steve Jobs said. And when I look back, this is what we did. Baseball was too long, too slow, and too boring. You nickel and dime, and we did the opposite. Then we said, how can we map the moments to make them more entertaining, more fun? How can we do experiments every single day to test on that thesis? How can we then start to engage deeply with individual fans to create magical moments that they will share with everyone? And then how do we empower our team to create those every single day? And when you put those together, the momentum has really taken off for us.
Hey, Bradley, what was the one after entertain always?
Experiment constantly.
So an example on that, every single night at our ballpark, we do 5 to 10 things we've never done before in front of a live crowd. It's funny, when I wrote the book, it says 4 because we pushed it to 5 and 10 this tour. And so no matter what, 5 of those don't work well, but we learn so much faster than everyone else because we're pushing the envelope. And so how many experiments could you guys do on the experience? What's the invoice that comes in? How do they pay in a fun way? We do different invoices. What's your voicemail? Hold music. What's the response email after they join you? Can it be congrats? You just made the best decision of your day. Like, we celebrate when people join us. Those are little experiments that can really change the experience.
I love it. Big door swing on little hinges. Hey, Jesse, I got a question for you. I find myself in this same boat, and I don't know if you feel this way or not. I spend so much time focusing on customer experience. And like you said earlier, we play the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia hold music.
I love it.
Do you really?
On hold. Yeah. If you call my office and we put you on hold, you're going to hear that music and my voice in the background giving every agent's biography. So, that's just kind of.
You do it the same way you do the podcast intro?
No, not as
intense.
No, not as. I don't want to blow somebody's ears out while they're on hold. But
they got their AirPods in.
Yeah, they're like, holy. When you walk into a business, Jesse, because you're so hyper sensitive to customer experience, and let's say you take the yellow tuxedo off and you're just in, shirt, jeans, walk into some place, it doesn't matter where. It could be a convenience store, a shopping place, retail outlet, and the customer experience there is awful.
Yeah.
Does it bother you the whole time you're there? You're like, I can't believe
me and Emily, how you view things.
It owns me. It just owns me.
How you view things is how you do things.
Correct.
And so, we are constantly watching customer experience to learn on what not to do. Or learn what to do differently. So I take it as a grateful lens. I was on hold with someone for an hour and 20 minutes yesterday. And, I think if you can simplify, especially in today's world, what needs to happen, it's speed and ease. Mm-hmm. Everything is speed and ease. I say this right now, we're in a TikTok world, but baseball games are getting longer and slower. So that's why baseball's struggling. Everything's speed and ease. Response time. How quick can you get to? We're competing not against other insurance. You're competing against Amazon. First time today, I ordered a book this morning that said it'll be here in 4 hours. And I was like, that's the first time that's ever happened to me. I'm like, That's the world we're used to now. That's the expectation. So if you're doing what is good for your industry, you're actually probably behind. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're constantly figuring. So we notice speed and ease everywhere. That's what we look at.
Well, and it's crazy too. I noticed you quoted Jeff Bezos in the book. So I was going to bring this up, how easy Amazon has made it to buy things. Like, many of us will never get our business to the point to where it's as easy to do business with us as Amazon is, but at least that's the bar. And maybe not even in that way, but that is the bar. Yesterday, I was on the phone with my wife, somebody who knows me better than anybody. And, when your spouse comes in the door at the end of the day, you can tell if they're in a bad mood or not without them saying it. Like them,
it's their energy, their frequency when they walk in the door. It's almost like how a dog, dogs can sense your mood.
Yeah.
And when you know your spouse as well as you and I know our spouses, Bradley, it's like a nanosecond, and you're like, "Uh-oh, she's in a bad mood."
Well, and she and I were on the phone yesterday, and we were talking about something we needed to order for the house, and I ordered it on Amazon while we were on the phone, and it was like, she was like, "I didn't even know you did that." Like it was so easy that it didn't even take me out of my conversation. It was like 3 clicks, that's what you're competing against, because like, even if you don't want to sell insurance, like Amazon sells products, or Amazon is going to eventually sell insurance. Like, that's what you're competing against, because that's what people are used to.
Right.
And you got to implement some of those things.
Yeah, I agree. I think the beautiful thing about what Jesse has too is that Amazon experience, even though it's fast and it's quick and it's easy, and it's the reason why a lot of people just jump on there as soon as their spouse say, "Hey, we need some garbage bags." Boom, there's garbage bags at your house. He has that added element though, beyond the transaction. It's a 2-hour event. I mean, you could almost compare it to almost like a Broadway play that he's turned baseball into, where as a fan, you're getting all these benefits and things, added value that you wouldn't get at a major league game. And by the way, for 2 hours, you're going to be entertained beyond belief. It is almost a Disney experience. And I love that he chose something that would allow him to really expand on that. There's only so much you can do with Amazon, but he can do the parade, and he can do, the walk-up stuff and all the things that they do during a game. And I think it's wonderful. I can't wait to go to a game one day.
I appreciate it. And I think, just to reiterate, like, we talk about Amazon, they're almost 30 years old.
Correct.
And they've been doing it, the Bananas were 6 years old. And I think the mentality from Disney is to continually plus. Disneyland is a living, breathing thing. It'll never be complete, he said. He's always plussing the show. And I think when you look at what we're doing, it's like, I looked at our opening day script in 2016, and we had 6 promotions before the game. Now we have 55. And so you got to realize, like, where you started. If you're not embarrassed of where you started or what you did when you look back on it, you waited too long. Right. And so that's why the experimenting and constantly testing and trying, and you're just building it. But it happens with clarity. We make baseball fun. That's why we exist. How we do it is fans first and entertain always. When you have clarity, you build on that. So every morning I write 10 ideas on how to make baseball fun. Every single morning. And I get specific, how to use the outfielders, how to use the infielders, how to do a hitting entrance, how to do a scoring celebration. And we just build on that. And it makes it a lot of fun as well.
How many of those 10 ideas do you execute on?
I would say probably about 20%, maybe. I would say, that's just a guess in the dark. But when I get into with our team, we say, all right, out of these, which ones do we definitely want to do this week? And then we might only 20% the first year, but then we come back to them. Like, I've had this idea for a ball monkey for 5 years now, where we actually have a monkey delivers baseballs to the umpire and climbs up the umpire and hands them baseballs. Like, I want to have a ball monkey at our stadium.
That's incredible.
That's going to take years to train and get there, but we will have one. It's just going to take a while.
Scott, you need a podcast monkey that brings you your microphone before we start. So, Jesse, when you think about the world, the business world, what are some companies that you feel like, obviously they're not doing it as well as you, and they may be doing it a different way, but what are some companies that come to mind that are getting this somewhat right?
Oh, there's a ton. I've had a great experience with Sweetwater, which is the music amp company. They've sent me calls and text messages, very personal connection. It's very easy to see the big examples. We all can look at the Chick-fil-A's, the Disneys, the Amazons.
Yeah.
I think it's the smaller companies that really stand out. And the one that I share in the book on the final section, How to Create an Unforgettable Experience, is Shoreline Construction. And so they were a home builder in Bluffton, South Carolina. 5 years ago, they heard one of my talks, and the owner was just taking notes all the time. And he just said, thank you at the end. And that was it. 3 months later, they brought me in to hear him talk. And he said, I want to tell you what we did with our experience. They got their whole team together. They talked about how to phase out the fans first experience. And they started literally sending a video with the whole team celebrating. They give an iPad when they buy a house. They send all these gifts. They have a roll out the red carpet. And the first time they did it, they had champagne, but they left it in the back of the truck. So the champagne was hot. They made a lot of mistakes doing it. But they started doing things that was amazing. And one time, a family, a husband and a wife, they were coming down to their house in South Carolina. They're from New Jersey. And they said, you recommend anywhere to eat? It's our anniversary dinner. And his team, not the owner, said, oh, we'll pick you up from the airport. We'll take care of you. They picked them up in a limo and took them to their house, which wasn't even done yet. It was framed, just had the wooden frames. And they had lighting set up and one table set up. And they had a private dinner for them. And they're not even complete framed home, special for them with their favorite meal. The wife went nuts. She told everybody, and it spread like crazy. They created a moment that was unforgettable. And now that company spends $0 on marketing. They have a waiting list of people that want to get homes from them. It was because they started really mapping the experience intentionally. And so there's so many companies that do that. We just don't even know about it.
That needs to be the next book, dude. Like, talk about the companies that have implemented it,
Well, I tease with a few in this book.
Hey, funny story that you brought up Sweetwater. I was at lunch yesterday with two musicians, and we're sitting there at lunch. And when you're with musicians that play music and play guitar and stuff like that, they start talking their own language, kind of like insurance agents when they get together. And they start talking about Sweetwater. And I will confess, I was kind of half-assed listening to what they were saying. And I looked up, and in a moment of stupidity, I said, "Oh, man, I love Sweetwater. I've tried that beer 2 or 3 times." And they said,
they have the same name, yeah.
They both look at me, and they're like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I love Sweetwater. I'd love to go to see where they, make it at or whatever." And they said, "Scott, we're not talking about the beer. We're talking about, apparently Sweetwater is like, here's how they explained it to me. It's like a Costco for musicians."
Yeah, it's got everything, and it does it. The service is outstanding.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesse, leave these agents. I know you got to get off, and Bradley and I'll stay on, and we'll kind of recap what we just talked about. But leave these agents with one nugget. What's the one thing you feel like?
Geez.
Not putting you on the spot or anything.
Not putting you on the spot or anything.
No, I mean,
mapping the experience, mapping what your customers are doing.
Yeah, play the long game. Again, think about the long game and creating fans. Don't focus on the next quarter, focus on the next quarter century. When you look back at 20, 25 years, are you going to be proud? And usually you're proud when you give more and you don't ask for things in return. And leave money on the table. It's crazy as leave money on the table to create a better experience. You and your people will feel proud about it. And that's what we've been able to see works really well with our team.
How do you hire great people? Because you can't do this by yourself. The show's too big now. You have to have great people around you to support you, support the team. Even the players you hire have to be a certain breed of person.
100%.
And we talked about that on the last podcast. Guys, if you didn't listen to it, go back and listen to Jesse on the last podcast we did.
So we had no one that wanted to be a part of our team when we started. Literally no players wanted to play for us. This team called the Bananas, nobody. And we had people that didn't want to work for us in the baseball industry. But then we stuck to our vision and started sharing it with the world. And we got adamant about screaming from the mountaintops who we are, what we stand for, and what we believe in. I was told by our fans first director, we have 1,100 people on the wait list to work for us right now.
Wow.
1,100. And so that's between full-time and interns. And I think it's because you want to attract over recruit. How do you do that? You share your vision publicly over and over again, and you attract the people that believe in your vision, that want to be a part of it. And then it doesn't really, the money doesn't matter. They want to be a part of it. And I think that's been the big game changer for us. And with our players, you don't get a uniform until you go through Fans First U and Bananas orientation. We share stories. We spend an hour with them showing videos. We have other players talk about creating fans first moments. That sets the tone for who we are and what we stand for. And I think that's what we've learned in the last few years.
Do you do that with players too?
Yeah. I mean, everything. I mean, now players go through the whole entire experience. I mean, it's story after story. Everyone has core values, core beliefs, but you have stories that back those up. We share stories. That's why obviously I have a book is trying to share those stories, which hopefully also attract more people and build the brand to who we are.
Guys, listen to me. If you haven't done it already, go to the Savannah Bananas website. Not hard to find. Type in Savannah Bananas on Google. Their website will pop up, which is extraordinary, by the way. And go order the book, Fans First, and read it. And I think what that's going to do for you, it's going to get the creative juices flowing. And I love what you said about mapping your current customer's experience and figuring out where their friction points are. That's your starting line, and then work backwards from that. Jesse, thank you so much for being with us today, brother.
You guys are rock stars. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jesse.
Hey, call me when you're ready for me to do the ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the One City World Tour for the Savannah Bananas.
Here's what I would do, Scott. I'd have you actually do that. Fans, not players. So as fans coming in with the red shirt, let's hear it. Red shirt, big earrings, let's hear it. And then I think that'd be more fun.
Absolutely.
I agree. I've never been more excited for somebody else.
Thank you, Jess Cole.
All right.
See y'all. Bye. Bradley Flowers, that's incredible. I mean, what he's been able to accomplish. Hey, let me tell you this. You think if Scott Howell had put up $20-30 million to start a USFL franchise, I wouldn't have been in that son of a gun's office day one.
Every day.
Every day. I'd be like, Jesse, help me, please.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you could do the same type stuff with the USFL, but you've got to have more leverage.
Well, there's
leeway than you would with an NFL franchise.
There comes a time where you're going to have to burn the ships in your business. At some point, all of us have to decide whether we want to burn the ships or not burn the ships. And he decided to burn the ships and said, well, hell, if we're going down and we're not doing good, I'm at least going to go out swinging. And it worked out, and there's a lot of folks, that are at an agency that they're not happy, and they've thought about that idea that they've wanted to try. And, last week's episode, we talked about all the reasons, or a few of the reasons why you don't want to open your own agency. But I also want to encourage people to do that if they genuinely want to do that. And there comes to a point to where it's like, hey, regret is going to sting worse than failure. Right. If you're licensed and you 30% know what you're doing, you can get a job anywhere in insurance.
Right.
But you can't always start an agency when you're 65, 70 years old and you've only got statistically 7 years left on this earth. You don't have enough time to do it,
No.
Do it now.
I'll tell you what I love the most about what he said. And I think it's something that 99.999% of agencies don't do. Because we all get in our little bubble and we've got so much going on every day. And we fall into the same trap that human beings have fallen into for hundreds, if not thousands of years, where we forget that, hey, in order to make this agency better and to grow and to create raving fans is basically what he's doing, which is another great book. We need to map what our customer experience is. And as an agency owner, I need to listen to phone calls, call people who maybe leave a 3 or 2-star review on Google and say, hey, how could we have done this different? How could we do better? Have people that you're close to call your agency and tell them, hey, look, we're trying to create raving fans here and give you a experience like you've never had in the insurance business. But in order to do that, I've got to map this thing backwards. So I want you to call the agency for me and do the X, Y, and Z and kind of tell me, were there any pain points with that? Or was it seamless? How do you create that customer experience that is the same experience that Jesse gives his fans at those banana games? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? I don't do it enough. I need to do
we don't
more
either, dude. It's so easy to get caught in what you're doing.
That's it. Yeah. Every day it's like you're on a hamster wheel and you're doing this and this problem, this fire pops up and now you're dealing with that fire. And the next day something else pops up.
But the thing too, like back to the Amazon thing, like Jesse is the bar.
He is.
If a lot of insurance agents did 1% of that,
correct.
You don't have to be wacky and like wear a yellow, but if you did 1%, applied 1% of the principles that he talks about, like it could change your agency forever.
I was sitting there thinking while he was talking about like, what are some things we could do better? And I was thinking, what if we chose one new business client a month? So you take all of your clients that you write that month that are all new business clients. And maybe you give them that experience of, hey, we chose you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family now. And we chose you and your wife. Here's a dinner at this beautiful Italian restaurant this month. And
Scott's going to show up to your house and serenade you and then tuck you into bed.
Yeah, right. Something that creates raving fans.
We've done something similar. You have to do it where it's random, but we did something where we had a local artist, and we did this for a year. When COVID happened, we kind of got away from it.
Is it one of those things where it works so well you stop doing it?
Pretty much. We had a local artist draw a sketch. This was specifically for people who bought new houses, so new closings. Right. We had them draw a sketch of the house and then wrote like the Howell family.
Right.
She put it in this like acrylic thing, and it was not very big. It was about 2 inches wide, 2 inches thick, and we wanted to give them something not only to kind of commemorate it, but also it would be something they would display proudly in their home on the mantle. Right. And somebody guessed, where'd you get that at? That's cool. Oh, actually my insurance agent, that whole thing. But there's little things like that you can do. I mean, I would suggest everybody, mystery shopping your agency, mystery shopping other agencies. Don't waste their time, but mystery shopping other agencies and and kind of going through the customer experience, and you'll see the bar is really low, and put yourself in your customer's shoes. I had a manager one time that would make everybody walk into the agency and like, what do you see? What needs to be, you know what I mean? Put yourself in your customer's shoes. And unfortunately, there's a lot of situations where we can't help. There's fees that are owed, and we can't as an agency, ingest those for the customer. We have to charge it to them, and that sort of thing. So there's stupid stuff, but it doesn't mean you can't push back with the carrier and say, hey, why are you doing this way? This is dumb. Ask to be on agents advisory councils. You can get a lot done on an agency advisory council. Ask to be on these councils, ask to be a part of groups that are pushing for change in the way that carriers do business.
I'll tell you a good example of this. And this guy is one of the most successful Northwestern mutual agents in the United States. So he's done well for himself. Mm-hmm. But I was at the beach with some friends of mine 4 or 5 years ago, and they had just taken out a life insurance policy, I think on the husband, a big policy with this Northwestern mutual agent a couple of years prior. And he said, one of the things this guy does, and I thought this was ingenious, every birthday for their kids, they had 3 kids, the Northwestern mutual agent would send them a birthday card, the kids a birthday card. Mm-hmm. And he would do these funny birthday cards. So on the front of the card would be like a monkey, like a gorilla. And on the inside, he'd write, hey, JD, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I thought you'd like to see a picture of your dad on the front of this card. Right. And it's a gorilla. It's a monkey. Awesome. Right. And inside the card, besides it being pretty damn funny anyway, every year he would send them a Susan B. Anthony 50-cent piece, like a commemorative 50-cent piece inside the card that he would send the kids. And of course, what's he doing? Well, they're at the beach with me telling me about it. So he's creating raving fans, right? Stuff like that. I mean, It doesn't have to be huge, but I mean, that's hilariously funny that he sends a card every year with an animal on the front. Absolutely. Hey, I want to send you hey kid, I wanted to send you a picture of your dad for your birthday. And then inside that is a 50-cent piece that's, something they can keep.
Yeah.
Guys, before I get off this podcast, I want to tell Mr. Joe Nelson with Nelson Insurance Agency, I am wearing your hat today, brother. Thank you so much. He sent me 2 hats. I think one of them is for you, Bradley.
That's a good-looking hat.
I'm going to have to get you your hat as well. But
dude, Nelson, he lives an hour from me. Why did he send it to you?
Pensacola, Florida, baby. Pensacola, Florida. Joe Nelson. Thank you so much, Joe. As I told everybody that sends me a hat, I'm going to put you on blast when you send it to me. So
Florida might as well be a war zone right now with insurance.
Yeah.
Props to Joe.
Guys, as I end every podcast, rewards come from action, not discussion. Guys, it's time for us to start mapping our customer experience and work backwards. Go to your clients, figure out how you can create a more seamless, integrated process for them, make it easy, speed, fast, easy, and give them that experience that creates raving fans. I think Bradley's right, and I think Jesse's right. I think you don't have to do the yellow tuxedo and have a parade for them, but big doors swing on little hinges. I can sit here and think of 500 different things that we could do better. One thing that Jeff Roy does that I love is they created an agency birthday video, and that video goes out to each one of their clients. And it's about a minute long video of them cutting a birthday cake for you as one of their clients. And they send that video to you via email to each one of their people. Stuff like that. I think all that goes a long way. Make money for your family, for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, for your parents that are struggling out there today. Go make money for them and help them. Write good business for the agencies that you represent, and write good business for the companies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
Thanks, man.
Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. If you need to know more about me or you need to get in touch with Scott, you can always reach me at theinsuranceguyonline.com or email me at scott@iprotectinsurance.com. And if you need to get in touch with Mr. Bradley Flowers, go to portalinsurance.com or email him at bradley@portalinsurance.com. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening to our show and being a part of our family. And we look forward to seeing you again next week on the next episode of the Insurance Guys podcast. Take care.